What's going on, fans of the CPC? We are back with the Week 3 Power Rankings. I am Jolt of the Token Minorities, and joining me is my favorite pal, RizzyPOW.
Hello, this is RizzyPOW.
And we're ready to get on into this. The battles this week were really insane. Almost all of them were super close yet again. Just going to further show how competitive this league is. So many really good players, and even the bottom half of the power rankings has played very well against the top half of the power rankings. So really anyone at the top can lose to anyone at the bottom, and that's what makes this job really fun, and that's what, in my opinion, makes this league pretty fun to watch. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump on into this with our number 16, and I'll let RizzyPOW take over here.
Alright, number 16 this week is the San Antonio Sparse for me. He went up against, if I do believe, he went up against Jake, what is his team
Virginia
name?
Tech Frokies.
Virginia Tech Frokies. I am bad at remembering names. But, Will kind of did not have a good game again this week. He hasn't been doing too well this league so far, but some stuff that happened were like much about what he did was he brought Kangaskhan with Ice Punch versus also Garchomp. I felt like Ice Beam would have been really good because like if you're a Garchomp with against a Kang, such an obvious set is what is it? This set that was really obvious, Rocky Helmet, Ruskin. Yeah. Yeah, and what happened is that he, Jake this week, he actually ended up bringing the Endure set. So if he had Ice Beam, he would have not, like, his Kang ended up going down to like 20-30% after he got endured with Garchomp. And then he would have been able to save like 60% or so on his Kangaskhan. He brought Power Punch. I don't know if that was the best set. Again, I thought Ice Beam was a really good set. Mixed sets on Kang are actually pretty good, I think. What else happened? Overall, he just didn't play the greatest. Like, he also pursued the Bronzong. He should just kill it with knockoff. Maybe at that point he just had to play aggressively. He switched in. Torn being asleep so early in the game was also not the greatest. He switched into a sleep from Venusaur, which I guess is a fair switch in, but the fact that he just got sleep powder just wasn't the greatest. So there's not like a ton to talk about this game. I'm sure that he can bounce back. He hasn't gotten a win yet, but I'm sure next week, I don't know who he plays next week, but I'm sure that he'll bounce back eventually though. So yeah. Unfortunate. But
not a whole lot more to add on that. I just don't think his prep has quite been strong enough this season for the level of competition. So if he can step that up and step up the level of play a little bit too, he'll be okay. So let's go ahead and move on to the next team to talk about, which is in my number 14 slot and in Riz's number 15 slot, and that is the Portland Trailblazers, coached by Muse the Best. Picking up another loss this week against the Carolina Pantherians in a game that was really close. It was just a 1-0. Came down to the fact that his opponent had a Focus Sashed Alakazam with both Psychic and Psyshock being able to pick off the remainder of Andrew's team. So it really was a close game, unfortunately picking up another loss. But I do think that Andrew showed a lot of signs of life throughout that game. He played well really for the entire game aside from one mistake, which was really important, and that was miscounting sand turns or just not really being aware of the number of sand turns remaining after setting up a Swords Dance with his Excadrill, Air Balloon Excadrill versus a Gliscor. And if he had another turn of sand, he would have been able to fire off an Iron Head, outspeeding the Gliscor in the sand due to Sand Rush, and that would have put him in a much better position than he was after the fact, as what ended up happening is he went for a Swords Dance on the last turn of Sand as the Gliscor broke the Air Balloon with an Aerial Ace, and then the Sand ran out, the Excadrill was outspent by Gliscor, and then was taken out by Earthquake, and there goes Excadrill. So that's losing a Pokemon that definitely had potential to win the game if it were played more appropriately. So that little mistake is what costed him big in this game. But he did have some bright moments as well, as I already mentioned. Most notably, I really liked the prep with the Calm Mind. I believe Hidden Power poisoned Latios to take on a Tapu Bulu. That was really cool. Just in general, that Latios was applying a lot of pressure against his opponent throughout the battle. And overall, his prep really was good. It was just one mistake that costed him here. So definitely some signs of light. I do think he's starting to slowly bounce back. He can compete with anyone in this league. The 0-3 record is not something that should be misinterpreted by the other coaches. He can beat anyone, and we'll see if he can start bouncing back here in future weeks. So, Riz, do you want to talk about Arizona?
Yeah, true. Also, something I want to say about Andrew, that was a really close game. It was really hard for me to like decide the power rankings this week, and it hurts me to put Andrew like at 15, but like I feel that my honestly my 9 through 15 could be around anywhere. It was really hard for me to do like the bottom this time, but I had even Andrew up a little bit higher at times, but end up just deciding 15. But yeah, so next up is the Arizona Dactyls, coached by Volume. This week he went up against Chris, and he ended up losing up against Chris, but he had some pretty cool sets. Like I really liked the double Scarf with Scarf Articuno and Scarf Hydreigon. That was actually pretty cool. He brought Scarf Articuno. I think this is his second time in week 3 now. He's brought Scarf Articuno, which is pretty cool. Brought last week versus Andrew. I remember that. But yeah, there was I remember like it was a really close game. It ended up coming down to Chris having to Lunar Dance with Crest or into Scarf to Selgor. Volume definitely seemed to have the upper hand for a while until then. Even Metacham also, if he I'm not sure, he might have been able to win this game if he had like Ice Punch or a neutral hit on Metacham, because there is a turn when he switched from his Selgor into I'm trying to see this, but yeah, there's a time when he switches his Selgor into Cresselia, and Cresselia after rocks was at 43%, and he high jump kicked on the switch in. No, he bullet punched on the switch in, and if he had Ice Punch, he might have been able to kill that Crest, and then he might have been able to win the game because Chris wouldn't have been able to Lunar Dance up into the Scarf of Selgor. So I'm not sure about that. If Jolt wants to add anything, I don't know if he remembers that part, but
I don't remember that exact sequence, no.
No. All right then. I'm not sure if he would have been able to win that, but I don't know if Ice Punch even does more than High Jump Kick, because High Jump Kick is really strong, even though High Jump Kick is resisted. But yeah, it ended up coming really, really close. Yeah, there's not much else to say. The offense between like the Scarfers was cool. Entei was really nice. That freeze though on Crest almost saved him a lot as well. But yeah, Scarf and Selgor ended up coming through. So
yeah. I think what also pressured him a lot was the hazards throughout the game. Chris was able to get up at least 1 spike, maybe 2, as well as stealth rocks, I think. So it was, with the Nidoqueen with stealth rocks. So yeah, he was definitely pressured a lot by hazards. And then I'm not sure if it was scarfed a Selgor, wasn't it like specs? Because the Hydreigon straight O-code Cobalion, I think that requires specs.
Yeah, I thought that was specs, but I thought I would sped the Cobalion and some other things too. That's why I thought it was Scarf.
It caught the Cobalion on the switch, I think.
Oh, it did?
Power. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that was at least boosted in some way, Hydreigon. And then I think also boosted a Selgor. It might have been specs a Selgor, actually.
Okay, yeah, I was wrong. Never mind.
I'm just guessing. I haven't actually seen the set, so this is just me guessing. But that's just what I think it might have been, looking at the damage rolls there. But
well, never mind. No Scarf Hydra.
Anyways, let's just go ahead and move on. So, in the 13 slot, we both have the Connecticut Crocodiles picking up their first win of the season in a convincing fashion against the Adelaide Zydingos. This was a game that I don't think many people really expected, at least the outcome of it, as what it came down to was Scolipede doing what Scolipede does best, baton passing into something that can sweep an opposing team with a little bit more speed, and in this case that was the Primarina. That whole sequence being able to occur against a Rotom Ghost that did not really have a way of dealing with an incoming Primarina, even if it had an electric move, which I'm not really sure it did, as it was pretty much just spamming Hex. I don't think the Rotom would have been able to stop the Primarina from coming in and just killing everything. Now, granted, I do think Verd misplayed a lot around the Primarina, and that's why it resulted in a 6-0. He had ways to check it, he had ways to avoid being OHKO'd by it, but he didn't play well around those, which he didn't play well around the Primarina, didn't play well with his checks, and that did allow it to pretty much just clean sweep through his team. So, hey, besides the fact that it was kind of a gimmicky strategy that happened to work out here, Shadow got his first win. He's no longer in the cellar. He is up here at number 13, and hopefully he can continue climbing here with some more wins in the future. But good job here for sure, and happy to see you doing well.
Yeah, that was a pretty funny, pretty fun game.
Yeah.
Not for Verd though.
Yep, I was watching it live. I was laughing. Must confirm.
Yeah,
I was laughing a lot.
We'll haunt Verd forever.
Oh yeah. No one wants to be 6-0'd.
No. Next up is what is it? Rhine Valley Gardevoirs I'm talking about?
Rhine Valley
yes.
Guardians, yes.
Rice Pool. What about Rice Pool? So Rice Pool, he ended up playing Aberforth this week. That was definitely a hard matchup because Abe has been kind of on fire so far this season. But what has happened? So he ended up, I like some stuff about him. He ended up ice punching. Like, that was a pretty good middle ground play, obviously, with Snorlax. He ended up getting a ton of damage on Zygarde so early, which was really, really nice. Snorlax was just, it was pretty cool. Had some neat coverage moves, Earthquake, Ice Punch. Some things that kind of didn't go his way. He ended up switching in Clef into that Swallow really early in the game and just lost it. So Clef wasn't able to do anything this match, which kind of sucked. Rockposh's Metagross was a really cool bring too, very especially versus Abe's kind of team, which is really offensive. But Abe ended up having the Air Balloon Magnerized Magneton, and if Abe didn't have that, there's a good chance that Metagross might have just been able to sweep, especially because Marowak was already weakened. I mean, even if Zygarde was at full, since it was a Nyachi, Ice Punch would have probably just KO'd that thing. So he would have been able to outspeed Swallow, Gardevoir, Nihilego's not taking a Meteor match. So that what is it, Rock Polish or Agility? I don't know which one he had, but it doesn't really matter.
Does the same thing.
Yeah, but yeah, it would have been able to just win if Abe didn't have that set. So that was a really nice bring on his part. Also a nice bring on Abe's, but we're talking about Rice Pool. What else? I don't really... Scarf Blaziken was also really good this match, but in the end, Abe was able to apply pressure, Rice Pool ended up losing this game. But it ended up actually being pretty close because it came down to Blaziken not being able to lock himself in a certain coverage move because he had to lock himself in the Flare Blitz, and Nihilego was able to take one. Not too well though, but it was able to take one and kill the Blaziken. So it ended up being a pretty close game still. Yeah. Yeah,
I really don't have anything to add on that. You pretty much said everything that I would have said. So, yep, cool. So let's go ahead and move on then to, I guess we'll grab Arkham City and Golden State together. So we're going to group these two together because they played each other this week, and as you can see here in our rankings, they are literally side by side for both of us. Arkham City being, of course, A12, and Golden State being Prado. Now, this was a game that was a little hacksy, but also pretty fun to watch. It was neck and neck the entire way. On Golden State's side, he had some pretty cool prep, especially the Mega Diancie, I thought, was really good with the Calm Mind set, also having Diamond Storm to help against the Blissey. That put in a lot of work against A12's team, with A12 not having much speed or speed control on his team. That Mega Diancie just puts in so much work against a team built like that. But on A12's side, he had some cool prep of his own. I really liked the substitute Z move Archeops, which was actually able to 1v1 in a Necrozma from full health, so that worked out pretty well. I didn't really expect to see an Archeops just straight up 1v1 in a Necrozma, but that did happen. But what really makes this game kind of, I want to say controversial to an extent, was the last play of the game, where there was a Scarfed Infernape versus a Tapu Koko, Last mon for both teams, and you would think that the Scarfed Infernape would be able to just click an attack, kill the Tapu Koko, game would be over. That would be the case if said Gunk Shot would have hit the Tapu Koko, but as most of you know, as you all know, Pokemon is a game that does have a small RNG factor, and that Gunk Shot just whiffed the target, and unfortunately for Prado, that ended in a loss for him. So yeah, really unfortunate there. I think all of us can feel your pain on that kind of loss. No one wants to lose that way, but it does happen. But at least for my rankings for Golden State and Prado, I did just leave them at number 11. That's where they were last week. I don't really consider losing by missing the last attack of the game to be a true loss, so I'm not going to drop him any rankings, but I can't really move him up either because it was still an addition to the loss column. But as for a 12, he is going to move up a few spots just because he did get another win. He has a positive record. No reason to be in the bottom 4 if you have a positive record of 2-1. So congrats to him on getting himself up to number 10 in my rankings, and even as high as number 9 on Rizz's. But you can add anything you want on this, Riz.
Yeah, so some things about this match. Flare Blitz apparently would have actually killed a Coco at the end. So I'm not sure if... Wait.
He didn't have Flare Blitz on his Infernape.
Oh, he didn't. Oh, he actually didn't end up having it. So, okay, never mind. I thought he had Flare Blitz and you can click it. Okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that really sucked for what is it?
Prado.
For Prado. Also, I've been really liking A12's use of Z Archeops. I think it's like he's brought it 2 or 3 times. It's actually been doing a lot of work. So he's making really good use of those very few points he spent on in the draft. Like, how many points was it? 5? Something really small. So it's been doing a lot of work. Archeops is actually a pretty good mod. Yeah. Also, what else was I gonna say? Oh, another thing I was gonna say. When I saw Mega Diancie versus this team, I was really hoping he would have been sharp in Mega Diancie. And I would have been able to break through Blissey. Yeah, that's what I was thinking he would be in the match, but he wasn't. And I was sad. But Calm Mind was still pretty good. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all to say. Also, I actually ended up moving up both of them. It was just really hard, again, for the bottom for me this week. So I ended up moving Prado up, even though he did lose. Just the way the power rankings work, like everybody I felt needed to move down. Like some other people, like people who lost, I felt like they needed to move down, and it just ended up being that Prado moved up. As well as A12, I didn't really want to move him up so high, up to 9. Because again, I felt like even though he is 2-1, I felt like he kind of should have not won that game. Definitely should have not won that game, but Gunk Shot. But I ended up moving him up because he did end up what is it? You know, he's now positive 2-1. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say for that. So you can move on.
Yeah, you want to grab Verd?
So Verd, poor Verd this week. We already talked about the game. He ended up getting 6-0'd by Shadow Primarina, which kind of was pretty sad for him. Scallopy ended up passing into it, and we all know what happened. But I think this actually was kind of bad for, like, I know Verd, I remember he was a bit upset after the game because there were ways that he could have still won after that, because apparently Shadow didn't have enough speed on his Primarina, so stuff like Weavile would have actually outsped it. And there's some other stuff that would have been able to outsped it. He would have been able to E-speed with Dragonite. I don't remember he was banded Dragonite.
It looked like banded damage to me.
Yeah, it was banded. I remember. Yeah, so he might have been able to win because he ended up sacking a couple mons. Yeah, because if he knew, obviously, hindsight's 20/20. You can't really know that. But if he somehow didn't know that, or maybe went off of that in case like that was the case, he could have technically brought back this game. I don't know if he would have won, but he definitely would have had a chance because he would have been forced to sack off. Did he end up sacking Rotom?
Yeah. I mean, he sacked everything.
Yeah, but he first off he sacked off Whimsicott, so he would have been forced to sack off Whimsicott. Then he could have gone to Dragonite, E-sped it, and then revenge killed it with Weavile, I think.
Yeah, what I thought he should have done was like sacked off Rotom and then gone Whimsicott. Because Whimsicott was Assault Vest, if I remember correctly, so he would have been able to chew any one hit from the Primarina no matter what. So all he would have had to do then is sack off the Rotom, go into Whimsicott, click a grass move, as he'll eventually die, and then go D-Knight E-Speed, and it's gone. Problem solved.
Oh wow, I didn't even realize that was...
So that was a way to win without even knowing that the Primarina wasn't going to outpace the Weavile.
So then Bird just kind of choked a bit.
Yeah, like the way I was thinking, he just panicked. Like if you think you're about to get swept, you're gonna panic, and unfortunately, he just didn't really think clearly enough in the situation. But it happens to everyone, so every now and then people lose their mind a little bit mid-battle. So unfortunate for him there. But
I do it a lot.
It's Riz's specialty.
But yeah. Yeah, I guess we can move on from then.
Okay.
From them. I guess now we're talking about Chris.
RizzyPOW, yeah. Let's talk about Chris and the Portland Timbers. So we've already talked about this battle a little bit. He played Volume in the Arizona Dactyls, coming up with a very narrow victory. I think a 1 or 2-0 victory, courtesy of a late game Aselgor sweep. Most likely choice specs Aselgor. I think it's choice specs. It looked like a boosted item. Chris runs all sorts of weird items, though. It could easily just be like bug boosting. What's the bug boosting item?
Bug EMZ or no? Bug insect?
Yeah, sure. We'll go with Insect Plate. It could have easily been that. Not really sure. But the Aselgor came in clutch. We already talked about the Lunar Dance play with the Crest to bring Aselgor back. But it was just that combination in addition to the Hazard stack that put him in a really good position in this game to be able to eventually pull it off. It was still a really tight game. Getting frozen, the Crest getting frozen by the Articuno definitely sucked, but it didn't really seem to be that consequential, just based upon the plays that followed. But just one little negative, I think he might have under-prepped a bit for Hydreigon. His switching got O-code, so that's usually a sign that you didn't really prep enough for Hydreigon. But with that said, it's still a win, first win of the season for him. I do expect to see a lot more, even though his draft seems a little bit underwhelming. He has a very high potential, and I could see him at least finishing the season 500, maybe even better than that. We'll see how it goes. But anything you want to add on that?
Not really. Pretty much said everything.
Okay. So, alright, I guess I've got the next one too. So I'm going to talk about the Carolina Pantherians, who was the man that played against Muse the Best and his Portland Trailblazerkins this week. I felt that he really was on his back foot for the majority of the game. I already talked a little bit about the Latios that Andrew brought, the Calm Mind Latios that blew back the top of Bulu, as well as the Sand offense and all that. And I really did think that Carolina was kind of in the back for most of the game, and I thought they were going to lose, almost guaranteed. When it came down to the wire there at the end, I believe it was 4-1. Andrew had 4 Pokemon left, and Carolina, is it Techno? Techno only had 1 Pokemon left, that Alakazam. It was 4-1. And that Alakazam was on a Focus Sash, and it managed to bring the entire game back through the combination of Psychic, I believe Shadow Ball, and Psyshock. So just really good prep and good play on his part to weather out the storm and be able to have that win condition intact with the Sash intact after all of the Pokemon that could outspeed it, bar the Buzzwole, which was Scarfed, are already gone. So just by being able to survive those Scarf Buzzwoles, attack the I think it was Leech Life, being able to survive that attack from the due to the Focus Sash, take out the Latios as well as the other mons that were remaining at the time. The Alakazam was able to bring the entire game back. Now that's really solid on his part. Really clutch prep, clutch play, and that's why you see him up all the way up here at number 7. So congrats to you on the close victory. So you want to talk about Rob, or you got anything to add on this one?
Not really. I'm just gonna get into Roz. So, the Dallas Starmies here. He ended up playing Fallop this week. So this was a really cool match to see because two pretty good players. Ended up being super close. There's some really cool sets on both sides. Fallop, well, actually I should be talking about Rob because this is the person I'm talking about right now. But I was gonna say some sets that Fallop bought, and then I'm like, oh shit, I'm not talking about him right now. Oh god, and yeah. So he brought Electivire this week. He brought a really cool Electivire set. He brought the Assault Vest Spadef, and it was able to take on Jolteon and some. I think it was only Jolteon that I really took on the team that he brought. guess it could have taken Moonblast from Tapu Fini really well and been able to revenge it or something. Some things that game 1-0, it was really close. There were some things that I felt that Rob might have been able to do a bit better. There was a part when the Mega Latios versus Kangaskhan. So Fala brought a like leftovers kind of bulky Kangaskhan, and they were playing kind of like a little like Star War. It wasn't really Star War, but like Rob kept on roosting up on returns from this Kangaskhan, and I guess since Kangaskhan had leftovers, he wanted to kill it as soon as possible. He was getting damage off on it, and there was this one time when he just attacked and like pretty much I don't know how to explain it. Like the Kangaskhan kept on going for return, and it was only doing 33% to Latios. He kept on roosting up, and he ended up getting like an attack off every so often. And then when there was a point when Kangaskhan was at like 20%, Mega Latios was also 20%. He tried to attack the Latios, and at that point, Fallop revealed a Sucker Punch, so he was hiding that, and he was able to get a kill. But he might have been able to play that a little bit better if he was like setting up on it. I'm not sure if he needed to. Obviously, he would have needed to because Sucker Punch from Zoroark always revenge. But I don't know. It just ended up, that was maybe, I guess, like a misplay, but it was hard to know that there was a Sucker Punch hiding in the back. I don't know if I explained that too well. If you guys actually watch the game, you should know. But and there was also at the end, it came down to whether the Electivire had more speed investment on the Lander's Tees. So if he had a bit more speed investment, I don't know exactly what the exact EV spreads were, but Fallop ended up having more speed on his Lando. But if he did have more speed on the Electivire, it would have been his game. So really close game, but Rob ended up not being able to win. So I think I did lower him a little bit, but he's definitely still in the running, and I bet he can easily climb back up to like the top 3 or even 1 at some point.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about Paul a little bit as well. Not to reiterate too many of Riz's points, going to go through this one pretty quickly because it is the same battle. But the one thing that I really want to highlight here for Fallop is he really demonstrated his patience as a battler. In that standoff between the regular Kangaskhan and the Mega Latios, where he waited for the perfect moment to reveal the Sucker Punch. And most players cannot remain that patient. They will spill their load the first time the Latios is weak enough to be in range of Sucker Punch. Guaranteed, well over probably 90% of players would click Sucker Punch before it's the proper time to click Sucker Punch. And Paul waited it out until the perfect time. And I was really impressed by that. And honestly, that play alone was enough for me to be convinced to move him into the top 4. And I'm going to keep him there. Until he loses again, he will stay in the top 4. Because he's proven to me through that play and through being able to knock off Rob, who in my opinion is one of the best in the format, period. Being able to knock him off, that just shows that he is a title contender this season. So just really want to praise Paul a lot for that win this week against Rob. And he definitely deserves to be here in the 4 slot. Now, for number 3, Riz and I have the same guy, and that is Turk and the Toronto Luxrays. This was Riz's number 1 actually last week and my number 2, so he's down at number 3, meaning he lost this week, but he did have to play my number 1 and Riz's number 2 in the Angels of Bohemians. So definitely not a slouch of an opponent in Yost that he lost to, but still a loss nonetheless. But he did have some nice prep. He had the Mega Low Punny plus Hazard stack, which really had a lot of potential against the team that Yost brought, but unfortunately just wasn't quite enough to be able to seal the deal, as he did have to rely on a Reuniclus late game that was holding a Colbur Berry, trying to pull off a Calm Mind sweep at the end. He really almost did it actually, but a late Dark Pulse flinch. Let's see, what used Dark Pulse? I can't remember what Pokemon used Dark Pulse. It was Greninja. Okay. A late Dark Pulse flinch from the Greninja against the Reuniclus shut down the efforts to try to win the game with the Reuniclus. as it really looked like it has a very strong chance to win the game, but the Greninja also had taunt. That also prevented the Reuniclus from healing back up after the flinch, meaning the Reuniclus would eventually be in range of Luxray late game, which makes it kind of ironic that the Toronto Luxray lost to a Luxray, but that's Pokemon. Flinches happen, unfortunately. I'm not going to punish him too much for losing, arguably because of the flinch. I'm not really sure what would have guaranteed happened without the flinch. I think it was coming down to the wire regardless, but a loss is a loss, unfortunately, and that was his first of the season, so too bad there, but he's still easily in the top 4, still easily a title contender in my opinion, and I'm excited to see how he does the rest of the season. So what do you think about that one, Riz?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it really sucked, that flinch. I don't think he would have been able to win, but it would have been really close. Like, I'm not sure. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say, except Turk sucks. But yeah, that's all I want to say.
Turkey sucks.
Turkey.
Alright, you want to get Abe?
Yeah, so let me get Abe. So I think I talked about this match earlier. Who did he go up against? Let me see. Oh, Rice Bowl. Yeah, so some stuff kind of sucked for Abe that he got frozen like turn 1, but he switched directly in on a Snorlax, and Snorlax is a threat, so you don't do that. I'm just kidding, but
Switch directly into a Snorlax. You deserve to get frozen. No, that's not how it works, Riz.
No
one deserves to be frozen.
You have to revenge kill. You have to sack something every time.
This would be the perfect time to say die, Riz.
No, okay, but there's some other stuff. So I'm not sure what exactly his moveset was on the Marowak, but Snorlax. I also thought that he would Aberforth would have probably like Brick Break or something on this on his Marowak to be able to hit Snorlax, because like Snorlax kind of walls every other Marowak set, and I thought it was kind of weird that like turn 3 he just went into Marowak trying to revenge. Like I thought he had Brick Break for sure. It was since he went into it, but he just did it for some damage off. Didn't really have like a ton for Snorlax, but not really like. I guess he should have also gone to Swallow, I guess. Although Swallow would have been able to kill it, but yeah, I wasn't sure about that. But also what ended up happening, some cool sets that he did bring were like really nice to prevent the Metagross from sweeping. It was Air Balloon with Magnet Rise. So after his balloon is broken, he can Magnet Rise on the same turn, and Metagross will not be able to EQ it, and the Magneton will be able to 1v1 it, which was really good. It ended up coming down really close. He ended up killing all of his Mons till Blaziken was the only Mon left, and then he was able to he was able to force it to be locked into his into one coverage move. And it needed multiple to be able to win the game, because he had a Gardevoir and a Nihilego. So like he needed high jump kick to kill the Nihilego. He needed flare blitz to be able to kill the Mega Guard, because it 4 times resisted the high jump kick. So ended up coming down super close, but Abe did definitely win. I put him top 2 just because even though I didn't like his draft a ton at the beginning, he's shown that he knows how to use this kind of draft. He's shown even in the NPL he knows how to use such a hyper offensive draft like this, and that's like I honestly feel like he is one of the biggest playoff or even champion contenders right now, and he is also 3-0, so that's why I put him at number 2 for me. Jolt had him, if I believe, he had him number 5.
Yeah,
so
I had him at 5. Yeah, mainly because I didn't like his draft at all at the beginning of the season, but he's slowly working his way up, and if he wins again next week, he'll almost certainly be up there in the top 4 as well. But that does require one of the guys above him to probably lose for him to be able to do that. But eventually he'll have to play against those top guys as well. So we'll see on that one. But yeah,
he'll get his love from Mama Jolt.
He'll get his love from Mama Jolt eventually. The love he's got to earn it, man. My love is not free. It's not easy to obtain.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, Riz. Happy birthday to you too.
It's not my birthday.
Yeah, it is. What are you talking about? Anyways, so let's talk about the Virginia Tech Frokies here. Jake picking up the win against Will in the San Antonio Spars. We talked about this match way at the beginning of the power rankings, and I really just have one thing I want to say about this, and that was that this was, in my opinion, the most dominant win of the week. and that's accounting for the 6-0 that Shadow had against Verd. I really felt like this game was dominant by Jake. A very impressive performance both in terms of prep and play. I really liked the Zapdos being able to essentially wall out the entirety of Will's team with what he brought. I think very few things on Will's team were actually able to break down the Zapdos, and Jake did a great job of keeping the Zapdos healthy throughout the game to ensure it was able to take on the Torn most notably, but also just the rest of his team in general. The Garchomp was cool with the Endure, and the Rough Skin would have had a Rocky Helmet for the Kangaskhan as well, but that got removed. But even so, it was able to take a chunk of damage off of the Kang, so again, great prep there. Everything about the team he brought really was impressive in my opinion this week, so congrats on that for sure, and in my opinion you deserve to be up here at number 2, and excited to see how you do here in the future weeks.
Alright, so I'm gonna move on to Yost right now, I think.
Yeah.
So Yost this week, he ended up winning up against my number 1 team last week. I've definitely felt the top 2 teams they were facing off this week between Turk and Yost. So this is a really good match. Definitely came down super close. We talked about it a bit earlier. Reuniclus ended up almost being able to bring the game back. Again, we said that Greninja had taunt as he revealed a bit earlier. I don't know if he ended up revealing it again.
Yeah, he taunted the Reuniclus.
But yeah, at first
keep it in range of Luxray.
Oh, you did. Yeah, I did. But yeah, he was, first turn he, taunted. He prevented Whirlipede from giving up hazards, which I guess was part of Turk's game plan to get up Toxic Spikes, which I thought was a really good plan because that was one of the weaknesses I saw on Yost's team, that he did not have a Toxic Spikes, fodder, a grounded poison type to prevent them from getting up. And it would have worked, but the taunt Greninja unfortunately happened for Turk. Some stuff also really cool. Yost brought Scarf Lando, which was able to revenge kill the Lopunny because he seemed a bit weak to it. Especially I don't know, he stacked up Florges to it, but I don't know. I guess he didn't want to switch in Gorgeist with Toxic Spikes up and stuff at some point. I'm not sure how that actually went. Never mind me, but I thought Gorgeist would have been the switch in at some point, but he sacked off Florges. But Scarf Lando was a really cool bring. It was able to do a lot of damage to his team. Taunt Greninja, and there's not too much to say about this match besides that. Luxray, it's really cool that he's bringing Luxray.
Yeah, I think on the Gorgeist thing, so I'm pretty sure the Megalop was adamant just looking at the damage output against the Florges, so with any chip on Gorgeist, it's probably 2-hit KO'd, so that'd be why you wouldn't have gone into it there. Megalop is strong. It's a really strong
I was overestimating Gorgeist. I thought it was... Yeah.
I mean, it's not really overestimating Gorgeist, it's just underestimating Adamant Lop. I think. Adam makes a big difference there, I think. But yeah, I'm really impressed by the use of Luxray as well. I've never seen anyone use Luxray in the format before, at least not well. I think probably some inexperienced players have drafted it before, but this is really impressive.
Yeah, I kind of want to draft Luxray now. Luxray's cool.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but...
Cool dude.
It's a cool Pokemon. No, the best part is he basically memed on Turk by bringing it here.
The disrespect.
Yeah, the disrespect, man.
Dude, Turk is such a bad player anyway. I would have memed on Turk too. So.
Same, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right. So should we wrap this up?
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's pretty much it. We talked about everything.
Yeah. Alright, well, thanks for watching, guys. This concludes the Week 3 Power Rankings for the CPC. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and a comment down below to maybe let us know your own rankings as well, or just what you thought about ours. But without further ado, we will see you all next week with Week 4, where I'm sure we have several other really crazy games to talk about. So we will see you all then. Peace.
Bye-bye. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.